People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a one-boy, cuddly toy, my up, my down, my pride and joy. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man or whether we're talking sun to sun, 'cause he's my best friend. Yeah, he's my best friend. La la, ba da 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 ya, ba da 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 ba, ba da 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 ya, ba da da beep beep bo bo bye, rubba dubba beep bo bye, rubba dubba beep bo bye. Whoops.
Hey everyone, this is Kern and David with the David and Goliath show. That's right, as you can guess it, we're back for college football.
All right. Welcome back. Glad to be back. Big time of year. Personally, it's my favorite time of the year. The seasons are changing. Football time. You can smell it in the air. So excited about it. This is actually a special edition. We're doing this live on the first real day of the college football season. So let's jump right into it. Obviously, that's the big thing going on right now. College football officially kicking off. This is going to be kind of a special show. It's going to be very pick heavy. We're going to let you know, break it down, who we like in college football, NFL, the works. So, start with college football. Might as well start with what's near and dear to us, and that's the SEC. Real football, man football. So let's just do it. We'll start with the SEC East. I'll let you lead off on that one. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick.
SEC East, I'm going with Georgia this year, just for the simple fact that, we have the best running back in the nation, Nick Chubb. The one thing that scares me about Georgia this year is the unknown at quarterback. I mean, you have a transfer from Virginia, Grayson Lambert. You have a redshirt sophomore and Bryce Ramsey. They've given the job to Grayson Lambert to start the season. Whether how long that leash is, I guess we probably won't know until, I'd say, maybe the South Carolina game, maybe the Alabama game. But, I mean, we'll see. He's got the experience. He has leadership qualities that I'm assuming the other three quarterbacks don't have, just with their no experience necessarily when it comes to starting. So we'll see how it shakes out. We have one of the best defenses in the nation. Our front seven stacked. Ray Drew, Carter. It's going to be Jenkins. It's going to be an interesting year for Georgia. I think we're going to rely heavily on Chubb and heavily on our defense. And as you know, defense wins championships.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I have to pick Georgia as well. It's not necessarily a praise of how great Georgia is this year as much as it is just a knock on how weak most of their competition is this year as well. Really, the only South Carolina's taken steps back, in my opinion. Florida, they are what they are, and then you got Kentucky and Vanderbilt. So the one other team in there is Tennessee, who they are on the rise, obviously. I still feel like they're a season away from reaching their potential. So that leaves one team left, basically, and it is Georgia. I agree with you. There's obviously concerns at quarterback, and that's the key position to the whole game. But the defense, they are loaded, full of veteran players. Running back, it's not just Chubb.
Right,
You got Sonny Michel, you got Marshall. I mean, it's
Brendan Douglas.
Yeah, okay, it's loaded at running back. There's an offensive line returning starter. So it's now or never for Georgia.
I agree.
Your competition's weak. You have great coordinators. You pay a lot of money to get in there. It's time for them. Will quarterback? How big of a disaster will quarterback be for them? Is the only question going into it. Now on the other side of the ball, in the SEC West, it's a different story. It's not a story of weak competition, to say the least. I mean, you can make an argument for almost every team in the West. Actually, you probably could make an argument for every team in the West. So you got to kind of pick. It's a little dicey. I'm rolling with Auburn in this one. I'm not big on Alabama. Alabama is always the go-to for most people, but I just don't see it for them this year. You talk about questions at quarterback. They got major questions at quarterback. You know, they lost a lot of talent at receiver. Of course, they got Henry at running back, who's going to be a beast. It's just too much turnover from last year to this year. Their defense should be great as well, but just not quite there for Alabama this year. I'm rolling with Auburn. Love their new quarterback. I think they take a huge step up from Nick Marshall. I wasn't a big Nick Marshall fan. Jeremy Johnson coming in as a junior. I think he's going to be beast mode in that lineup. Stars coming back on offense and defense. So that's my pick.
That's where I waver on Auburn, because you don't know what you're getting out of Johnson. You don't know what he's going to be. Yeah, he has a better arm than Nick Marshall. Does he have the leadership Nick Marshall does? Does he have the team support like Nick Marshall does? I mean, yeah, he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, if not the best this year, or he could go out there and wet the bed.
Yeah, but out of almost every team, it's kind of a weird year in the SEC. Almost every team has a question at quarterback.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like out of all the questions, I feel best about Jeremy Johnson. Better than I feel about most other quarterback questions around.
I mean, you know, like, all right, in the West, I'm going with Alabama. The reason why I'm going with Alabama, you know, like you said, they have a question of quarterback. Just about every team it does. But the reason why I'm picking Alabama is because of Kiffin. He's one of the best offensive coordinators in college football, in my opinion.
I like Gus Malzahn better.
He's a head coach, he's not an offensive coordinator.
We all know that.
But I know he runs the offense, but give me a minute. Coker, well, what he did with the quarterback last year in Alabama, with his size and all that, and I think Coker wins the job. Coker, he's got the NFL size. Does he have NFL talent? Probably not. But he's going to get what he can out of him. He'll get the best he can out of him. They have a very, very good running game with Henry. Their defense, yeah, they lost some talent. They lost linebacker. They lost, you know, the safety that went to the Giants. But one thing about Alabama is they've always got another starter to step up and replace.
Yeah, but young and unproven this year.
That's just about everybody, though. Unproven.
Auburn has some stars coming back, and if you want to argue coordinators, I know they got Kiffin and Smart, but give me Malzahn. I know he's a coach, but still, Malzahn on the offensive side and Muschamp on the defensive side coaching those players. Oof, I'll take that all day, any day.
But how much is Muschamp's head's going to be in the defensive side of the game when I think it's a pit stop for him just to get noticed and get another head coaching gig?
Could you say the same for Kiffin?
No.
Why not?
Because no one's going to give him a shot anytime soon, in my opinion.
Kiffin is smart.
No, they would have this past offseason. There were so many openings. I mean, I think he'll be there a little while longer.
You could say the same about Muschamp. I'm sure after the debacle at Florida.
Everybody gets a second chance.
Yeah, but, you know, after the debacle at Florida, I don't think people were chomping at the bit for Muschamp to come in as their head coach. So
we'll see.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's an unfair argument. But either way, so you have Georgia, Alabama facing down in the SEC. So
for the second time.
Exactly. So who do you have winning that first game between the hedges?
Georgia.
Georgia, see. I agree. I think Georgia wins that game as well. I think Georgia rolls in to the SEC championship. I'm looking at them go like 10-2, somewhere around there. I do pick them to stumble a couple times. I think in Tennessee, I could see them going down in that game, honestly. That's always a tricky game for them. Tennessee almost got them last year and almost
got them
every
last
other
2
year.
years.
Yeah, so I could see them stumbling in that game and that being a signature win for Tennessee. And then Georgia falling somewhere else because they always do. They always lose one game a year that they shouldn't have lost. So it'll happen. It could be Florida maybe. I can't see South Carolina. I just can't imagine how it's even possible. But it'll be one of those teams, Missouri, someone like that. So I see them at 10-2.
I agree. 10-2, 11-1. I think me personally, Tennessee could beat us. I think we'll roll against Tennessee.
Auburn. That's my second loss for them.
Auburn, yeah, I think that's going to be our biggest obstacle because I think Alabama. The reason why I haven't won in the West is because we play them early on. I think that's what helps us. I think with Kiffin and Saban gets them rolling. I think they'll gets the offense rolling, gets the defense rolling, gets them up to speed later on in the season. I think they'll be stronger. That's why I haven't won in the West. But yeah, I have Auburn giving us real fits, especially in Auburn.
Yeah, and the Alabama game will be interesting. I can see what worries me about the Alabama game is a lot of times Georgia does crap their pants in these big kind of situations.
Especially at home.
Hopefully you don't do a blackout.
Yeah, I've got it.
Don't do the blackout.
Yeah, don't
Bad
do
memories with that.
Yeah.
But what worries me, they crap their pants a lot of times, and in addition, Alabama's going to make Georgia's quarterback win the game.
Yeah,
they're going to stack that box.
They're going to make him throw.
And they're going to make them throw. And can he do it? I don't know. Georgia's other weakness outside of quarterback, receivers are not exactly
and Georgia will do the same thing to Alabama. I mean, they're going to make that quarterback
right. But so I don't know. It's not a gimme. I do pick Georgia. Just again, if Georgia doesn't do it this year, I love Mark Richt, and as a Gators fan, I'd love to see Mark Richt fired from Georgia. But if he doesn't do it this year, win. I mean, win.
Yeah.
This is it, really. It's now or never. So, again, going back to the big dance, the SEC title game, I got Georgia Auburn. Also another rematch game, and based on my 29 years of life experience and not seeing Georgia be able to do anything, I don't see any reason why it would change now. So I'm going Auburn.
I got Alabama, Georgia SEC championship game, and parlay off David. I'm gonna. It's just now or never for Georgia. I think Georgia does it.
This is the year.
This is the year.
This is the year.
I think they go to the
Heard
to
that
the
a
Final
few times, but okay. This is the year. So obviously it goes without saying that whoever wins the SEC is a lock unless something disastrous happens to make it to the Final Four. So let's we don't need to break down every conference because no one cares about the other conferences in football. Sorry, Anthony, ACC. But so who are our other three teams? So who's going to make it to the Final Four?
My Final Four, I have first seed. I got OSU, Ohio State University. They have one of the easiest schedules in college football, one of the best teams in college football, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Second seed, I have Oregon coming out of the pack. Oregon has a transfer into their team this year. Veron Adams from East Washington. He set numerous records. But can he keep that offense rolling? I think he can. He has a good arm. He has good legs. That's what that offense is. He's similar to Marcus Mariota, but can he throw like Mariota? No. Can he run better than Mariota? Yeah. So I don't think they lose a beat on offense. They lost two starters on defense. I know Armstead was a big loss, but I think they keep it rolling. I think they roll through the pack, and that's my number three. I'm sorry, number two. My number three will be Georgia coming out of the SEC, and my number 4 seed will be TCU coming out of the Big 12.
We barely won last night.
They'll get it rolling as the season goes on.
As their competition gets easier, they'll get it rolling. I agree.
Big 12 is who you got? I mean, come on.
I don't have anyone in the Big 12.
Exactly. I like the Big 12 better than the ACC, so that's why I went with TCU.
Let's hold our horses here for a minute. Oregon. I'll start off with that. I do not have Oregon going to the Final Four.
Okay.
I have Oregon taking a major step back. Everything you said about this Bumble kid from Eastern Washington, that's nice. To say that they're not going to miss a beat after missing Mariota, one thing about that offense, that goofy little offense they run, to make it run efficiently and smoothly, you got to have stability. It's got to flow. Mariota was in that thing, I think he was a 4-year starter or something along those lines. I mean, he knew how to make that offense tick. And now he's gone. I don't think Mariota's the best quarterback by any means. Don't get me wrong. Actually, out of all these people hyping him up for the NFL, I don't think he'll be a good NFL quarterback. I don't think he's a particularly good quarterback. Watched the game against Ohio State last year. So many missed easy throws. He's just either way. But for college and for that offense, he was a key piece. Gone. I think they take a step back. I could see them losing a few games in the Pac-12 this year, not making the playoffs. I didn't rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, but my Final Four, obviously, again, Auburn winning the SEC. They're going to be in there. Ohio State, we don't need to break it down and throw a lot of analysis at you. Their schedule's ridiculous. They play one or two good teams a year, and they do have the best roster in football. You know, everyone hyping up the Ohio State-Virginia Tech game like that's a real game. It's just stupid. USC is my team coming out of the Pac-12. I think they're back. They are back. They got the coach. They got the players. They got the weapons. You already know I'm going to throw the name Cody Kessler out at you. I'm not a Pac-12 analyst, but, you know, talk about stability at quarterback. I'll take that over the Oregon situation any day of the week. And, of course, they got stars on top of stars. The scholarship reductions they had to go through has dwindled away. I think they're back, and I think it's there for them ready to go this year.
I think they're still a year away.
I think it's time.
Okay.
I think it's time. And then my other one, give the ACC a little love. I mean, the Big 12, I mean, the ACC's not like world beaters, but, I mean, I think they're better than the Big 12. I'd take the ACC top to bottom over the Big 12. Maybe the ACC bottom feeders scare me a little bit, but I think it's there for Clemson. I think it's there for them this year.
I think they'll win the ACC, but I don't think they'll.
If they win the ACC, I mean, why not?
If TCU goes undefeated, they're second in the nation. They're going straight in.
ACC will have more big wins on their schedule, or Clemson will have more big wins on their schedule.
That's to be determined. We'll see. I mean, it's a long season.
I like ACC. You like their quarterback. I think we're about to talk about him a little bit more. That's my picks, though. So keep this in January. Auburn, Ohio State, USC, Clemson. Final four. And then Kern.
Ohio State, TCU, Georgia, Oregon.
Regretfully. All right. So you get to go to your Heisman picks now. I didn't even really prep for this section. There's just one line that keeps bouncing in my mind that it's game time. He's ready to go. That's the RB. I think it's going to be an RB-heavy lineup for you in New York or wherever they do it these days. I'm taking the kid from LSU, Fournette. That's my pick. I think he is the best running back in the country.
I think the only thing that hinders him is he doesn't have a quarterback.
Okay. And Georgia does.
But, I mean,
Chubb
they're going
does.
to – well, am I picking Chubb for the Heisman? No.
He should have.
So.
All right. But Fournette, I think if you watched him in that bowl game last year, it's not just running, it's returning kicks and everything. But he's ready.
All right. The one name that stands out at me at Heisman, you know, I watched him play a little last year. In the limited starts that he had, he did fantastic. I mean, I think he threw 14 touchdowns and 1,500 yards with a 68 completion percentage. And if he gets to start the whole year, which he will, it's Deshaun Watson from Clemson. He's a sophomore, true sophomore. You know, David likes him going into the Final Four. I like the team, but I you know, he's going to be great. He'll have a great year.
Just take Oregon out and put Clemson in.
I think he'll parlay it into a great season and into New York.
Yeah. No. All right. I like it. That's a little bold, a little ballsy. Not too many people know about Deshaun Watson, but hey, maybe you're right. I don't know. These things are almost impossible to predict. But I mean that wraps it up in the college football segment. I mean, we're all excited. We're about 2 hours away from kickoff. Georgia versus the Hawks or whatever that is. So good times are ahead of us. But don't want to just go college football. We're also a week away from the big boy football, the NFL, the Mac Daddies. I'm excited. We got done with all of our fantasy drafts. We're just transitioning over to the real deal here. We're going to do a different segment that we haven't done in the past leading off. We're going to do something called the Sleepers and the Creepers. Breaking it down, the Sleepers will be the teams that not everyone is picking to go to the playoffs, but we feel like we'll have a very solid year and make the playoffs. And the Creepers are those teams that everyone thinks they're a shoo-in, they're a lock, and I and Kern, we can see them struggling. So I'll go ahead and I'll let you lead off on this one. Who do you have as a sleeper?
Sleeper of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
They're in. Just be realistic. They're in one of the weakest divisions in football in the NFL.
Okay.
They had the number one pick this previous year, Jameis Winston. Winston has to be a good quarterback. I'm not talking about he doesn't have to have one of the best seasons by a rookie quarterback. If he goes out there and throws for 2,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, 16, 18 touchdowns,
37 interceptions.
and let's say 11 picks, 11 picks, they'll have a really good season. You got Doug Martin, who's looked like he's back in the preseason. He's running strong. He looks healthy. You got one of the best tandem wide receiver duos in the NFL, Vincent Jackson and Evans. Their defense is a very good defense, very underrated in my opinion. You got Levante David, one of the best linebackers. You have Bruce Carter coming over from Dallas. He brings leadership, intensity. He knows the scheme. You're bringing Gerald McCoy. Do we have to speak anything else about Gerald McCoy? He's a beast. You got Tim Jennings coming over from Chicago, another defensive captain, another senior veteran guy who knows Lovie Smith's team in that Tampa 2 scheme.
Do a lot of research on
This team, I think, wins the NFC South, and with a very surprise sleeper pick going into the playoffs. That's my sleeper.
For the record, can you please tell the audience what your first NFL jersey was?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, all right.
Yes, it was.
So a little biased, but
a little biased. It was 15 years ago. Come on.
It's in the heart, though. It's in the heart. I mean,
but
I feel like Tampa is one of those teams. Every year, you look at their offseason, you feel like they won the offseason. They've signed a lot of big free agents that just never pans out.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And then you go to Jameis Winston. I watched Jameis Winston a lot at Florida State. He's got the potential. He's got the raw skills. I just think he's too dumb, to be honest with you. I mean, I know everyone. All the scouts will say he knows football. He's so smart when it comes to football. But I mean, watch him every game last year against some crappy ACC teams, against the Pittsburghs and the Syracuse. His first half, he'd come out and go 4 for 15 with 3 picks.
That's what I mean. I'm not saying he's gonna have the best season. He's got to. He's got to not make.
If you turn the ball over in college against those defensive schemes, what's he going to do in the NFL?
He's not going to be asked to throw that much to the first year of the NFL.
I don't know. I like Doug Martin making a bounce back this year, but I don't know if you're going to rely on Doug Martin to take you to the playoffs.
And the reason, and what I really like about Winston, the reason why I think he'll have an okay year, is because when he had Kelvin Benjamin at FSU, he could throw it up. He's big enough to go get it. These 2 receivers on Tampa Bay, they're big enough to go get it if it's not online, and they'll get it and they'll bring it down.
All right. Well, my sleeper pick is not as exciting. I don't know. They're borderline sleepers, to be honest with you. But I'm picking the Dolphins to go a long way this year. They are my team this year, and part of it is because I like Tannehill to make the next step. I like Lamar Miller to make the next step on offense. They obviously on defense they added some beast mode picks. They got Sue and the line down there just causing havoc. So that's a big part of it. They're as a team at whole or whatever, they're going to make the next step. But in addition to that, I took a look at their schedule. All right, let's just really quick. Washington, Jackson, Buffalo, Jets, bye. Tennessee, Houston, Jets or New England, and Buffalo. If they don't go 6-2 in that, there's no reason why they shouldn't go at least 6-2. I mean, New England's tough. Other than that,
I love the fact that you picked them as your sleeper because I picked them as my creeper.
A creep? Wow. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an easy 6-2, maybe probably 7-1.
My thought.
So you just got to win 2 more games, and you're right there in the playoffs.
My thought process with them is I don't think Tannehill takes the next step this year. Lamar Miller, can he stay healthy? He hasn't proven he can yet. He had a good year last year.
How about Doug Martin?
Well, yeah, that's your opinion. In my opinion, but this is my opinion. Their wide receivers, they're small. They're unproven. They don't have cohesiveness. They haven't worked together. They're all new. You have a new tight end. Can they gel like this? I mean, their defense, yes, Sue, great player. he got his big deal. Is he going to be the same type of player? Cameron Wake is good. I give you that. He's getting up in age. Can he stay at the level that he's at? I mean, is it going to be their year? I think not.
Their year to make the playoffs. I'm not picking them to go deep in the playoffs, but I think it's their year to
So you
make
think
the
they'll be a
playoffs.
wild card team?
Yeah.
I just don't see
And their
it.
division's not. I mean, you got the Patriots and
The Bills, I think,
Jets
will be
and
better.
Bills
The Bills, they have one of the Bills that have very, very good defense.
and a terrible offense.
Well, let's see. I think they'll be able to run well.
I hope so, but so good to disagree. You got your creeper out of the way. My creepers. This will cause some controversy. I feel. I'm gonna bust it out and say the Denver Broncos
You're delusional.
don't make the playoffs this year.
Absolutely delusional.
Let's look at the facts. Peyton Manning. I had to do the research on this. He is 48 and a half years old. It's just, if you're watching him, it's taking steps back. He was terrible the second half of last season. And everyone's like, oh, well, he was playing hurt. Well, that's what happens when you're 48 and a half years old. Your hamstring's hurting. Your back's hurting. He never had the biggest arm strength to begin with. Now every time he throws, it looks like a 4-year-old girl throwing the football. I mean, he's taking steps back. I'm sorry. And then their offensive line, kaputs. There's so much changeover on that offensive line. They're starting rookies at tackle. They're starting blah, blah, blah. They lost a couple. That's it, though. That's it. Everyone else is unproven on the offensive line.
That Orlando Franklin guy is one of the best offensive tackles.
I don't know. I think they lost him, didn't they?
No, they did.
Okay, but either way, their offensive line's unproven. I did the research on this and looked at it. I have to look at this Orlando Franklin guy. I don't know if I trust it. But either way, defense lost it. Running backs, everyone loves their running backs. They love Anderson and they love Hillman. Now, I don't love either one of them, to be honest with you. I think they're both unproven. Anderson had a great end to last season. But it's just a lot with the turnover on offense and defense and Terrence Knighton leaving and Peyton Manning taking steps back and Julius Thomas leaving and one of Peyton Manning's favorite targets. Peyton Manning always relies heavily on the tight ends. I know they got Owen Daniels.
Oh, sorry, you are right. Franklin did leave.
Apology accepted.
Okay.
So, I mean, you put that mixture together. You got an old Peyton Manning. You got a very unproven offensive line. Teams are going to be coming after him.
I just don't see him taking that big of a step back.
And a lot of their biggest stars on defense are also 48 years old. So,
Who?
DeMarcus Ware.
He's not their biggest star.
I said a lot of them. Talib's on the verge of 30.
You get Talib. I mean, yeah, he's a great player. You have T.J. Ward, then Von Miller.
I think T.J. Ward's missing the first game.
Yeah.
Von Miller's legit, but I'm just telling you, they're going to take a step. I see them as like a. They might win 9 or 10 games.
I'd say I could see 10-6.
Maybe 10. That's their ceiling to me. That's their ceiling. I see them more as a 9-7 or 8-8 team just outside of the playoffs.
I don't see it, especially with Peyton Manning. He gets them in too many good plays out of bad plays.
Not this year. Not the second half of last year. All right. So it's good to disagree.
All right.
And we're about to disagree a lot more when we go into these NFC and AFC.
We're going to the next part of the NFL segment we're going to do is we're going to pick our NFC champions, our AFC champions, and then the winner of the Super Bowl, of course. I'll let David start first this time.
Hold your socks on. I could go the traditional route with the NFC. We could say Packers or Seahawks. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows that's the safe way to go, and I guess it makes sense. However, let's liven things up a little bit. We don't get paid to do this for nothing. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC. Talking about the Dolphins, this is their year.
We were talking, when you were doing research, we were talking about Moneyball, maybe getting traded to Dallas. So do you see Randall having a good year with your pick?
No. I feel like with that offensive line, if Moneyball does get traded, I don't think that's officially happened. I think it was just rumors. But if he does get traded, I don't know. I feel like between Ball, McFadden, and Randall, one of them will have a solid year. The problem is, if you're talking fantasy football, trying to pick which one of those will have a solid year,
It's like the Patriots, you stay away.
it's a crapshoot. But one of them will have a solid year. The Dallas Cowboys running game will be very strong and efficient. I just don't know with who.
Okay.
So you got that. You got Tony Romo. You got Des Bryant coming back, and you got the slew of other receivers on there. You got a lot of mean, nasty players on defense. I like them.
Okay.
I like them. Well, you don't seem too upset, so
No.
I guess it was an absurd pick to you.
My winner for the NFC, New York Giants.
Okay.
New York Giants, I think, have a really good bounce back year.
Oh God! Why weren't they your sleeper?
Because Tampa Bay had a worse year last year.
Okay.
Giants defense has improved, much improved. You gotta get John Beeson back healthy.
You picked the Giants to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good running back tandem between Jennings and Williams. Good wide receiver tandem. Solid veteran quarterback. I think he'll have. I'm going to put it down. He'll have the best year of his career this year. Eli Manning. And the defense, like I said, has improved. Set it down, Giants.
I'm excited about putting that down for you. I'm not going to go into a lot of analysis about the Giants. We don't need to break it down. Just picking them to win at the NFC is it's interesting. It's ballsy. I'll give you that. AFC, again, going outside of the box a little bit. I don't know, by the way things are rolling right now, I don't know. I felt like my pick was interesting, but it's looking like he's probably going to be picking the Buffalo Bills here. I'm going with Indianapolis.
Solid pick.
They were on the verge of it last year. They added a few veteran pieces. I'm not going to count Gore in that group. I'm not a huge Gore supporter. I don't think he's in line for the huge year everyone else is. He's 32 years old at running back. I don't know why people are not looking at that. They think he's going to be some unbelievable star there. What 32-year-old running back has gone somewhere to be a star? But either way, I like the Johnson signing. They added their offense should be unbelievable this year. So yeah, they were on the verge of it last year. The Patriots and their deflated football stopped them at the end. But what you got?
I'm going with New England again.
So I can see it.
Tom Brady with a chip on his shoulder coming out of the court rolling. Gronk healthy, 100% healthy, full year. Blunt's back for a full year. He's got to keep his nose clean, stay out of trouble. He'll be fine. Defense has improved. You got Hightower with another year in that defense, another year of maturity. Same thing with Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is back 100% healthy on that D-line.
You don't think losing Revis will hurt him?
I do, but it's not going to hurt him that much. I mean, they had good defensive backs. You still got McCourty. So I think they'll have a solid year.
All right, so you got the Patriots against the Giants for the third time in the past 10 years, I think.
I have New England winning.
Oh, couldn't go all the way with your team that's probably going to finish 5-6 or 5-11.
No, I couldn't.
Okay. I mean, I got Indy and Dallas in it. I don't, I think Dallas wins just based off the experience of Tony Romo. I know a lot of people think he chokes in the big situations, but I think he's gotten over that, especially in the past few years. I see Dallas with their experience and their veteran leadership. Finally, how about them Cowboys? It's game time for them. So, all right. So, I mean, although obviously this is the time of year we go heavy on football, we are a full-service sports show, so it'd be a little errant not to talk about a little baseball. It is still going on. A lot of people are forgetting about it now. But we got to talk about our Braves as much as it hurts. Just bring them up briefly. Not the best of years. It started off with some promise. I picked them to win 80 games this year.
Not going to happen.
No. It kind of dwindled away. But me being the optimist, looking at the Braves' future, I do feel like we made a lot of good signings this year. I feel like we made a lot of good moves to prepare us for 2017. That's what it's all about when we move into that new stadium. So, Braves past this year, not great. Braves future. Next year, I don't see us making the playoffs next year either, but I do see us making a step up next year. Some of our younger players. And you got Fulte. I kind of see Fulte, honestly. He should be in the bullpen.
He should be a closer.
Maybe. Yeah, I see him in the bullpen. But either way, Whistler and all the young guys we got coming into the rotation. Tehran needs to bounce back and beat Tehran. I don't know what's going on with him this year.
Should have traded him instead of Wood.
I don't know about that. I think the Braves see something in Wood that he's about to hit his cliff and drop off.
We've seen enough of that. Here, Tommy Hanson and.
Exactly. I trust the Braves. I didn't love that trade to the Dodgers, but they did get your boy in that trade, Oliveira, who I like the talent and everything I've heard about him. I just don't like that he is 30 years old.
He'll be 31 next
year. Getting his AARP card here in the next few months. I don't know. 5-year deal. The good thing is we got him cheap.
Yeah, $5 million a year.
Yeah, cheap. And if he is the star he's supposed to be,
that's a good.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, Braves are clearly building towards 2017, the opening of the stadium. I mean, that's pretty apparent once we traded Upton and then Kimball the day before the season started. I mean, it became really evident really fast.
Yeah.
But we picked up some really good talent through these trades. I mean, we've drafted well in the past couple of years. I mean, say what you will about the previous GM Wren, sorry. But he made a couple of good picks, but Hart's come in, made some deals for some other great prospects. I mean, let's just look at some of the prospects here that should be there in 2017. You got Oliveira, should still be there in 2017. Hopefully, at the hot corner, not on the bench. Let's hope he keeps it up and that talent shines through. But
hopefully not in a wheelchair because he'll be so old.
Got Lucas Sims is one of our top pitching prospects that you hear a lot about. Down on the farm, especially when you go to the Braves game and have the down on the farm report. You hear a lot about him. Tyrell Jenkins, who's a really good starting pitcher. He's at the AAA. You might see him at the end of this year. There's been a lot of talks about him. I know he pitched last night for Gwinnett. I don't know the stats. He actually came off the DL last night to pitch in Gwinnett. But they're talking about we might see him at the end of this year, if not in the starting rotation next year to start the season. He had a great camp this previous year with us. Vizcaíno, we think about Vizcaíno because we traded him a few years ago for talent. We traded him. I think who we traded him to? The Cubs, right? We got him back this previous offseason. He had a 50-game suspension. He's only 24 years old. He's our closer right now. Once we got rid of Jim Johnson and Gurley went down. But he's actually been pretty solid for us at the end of the game. I mean, since he's been in the closer. I mean, granted, he hasn't got many opportunities the past couple of weeks.
Talent.
Yeah, but Shea Simmons, when he comes back from his time with down surgery, that's another top closer guy who I think Fulte should be the closer, honestly.
Jeremy Smith, let's not forget the water boy. He's done a great job.
And
Doug
Whistler.
Johnson, the ball boy.
But I'll stop with our top prospects. But I get to looking at it, and I get to read it, and I get excited about our future. You can't
A lot
help
of
it
young
too.
talent. No,
You're not excited right now. I mean, so you got to look to the future.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is a bright future. I do think at least a few out of the 15 names that you just gave us will be traded for some established stars.
We'll see.
Going into that stadium, they're going to need more than prospects going into that stadium.
By 2017, they should be.
Yeah, there's
Some of them should be
there's just
stars.
one season left. They're going to need some stars, and
But we
you
have
got
free
Uglas.
agency.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, we're gonna have a
You
lot
got
of
Ugla
money.
coming off after this year. Upton's gone. I mean, there's going to be some room to spend. We're not spending money other than Freeman and Tehran and maybe Miller. I mean, we're not spending a lot of money right now at all. So there's room to go out there and grab some big names. And I'm excited. 2017, the tomahawk will come out of the closet and we'll be ready to start chopping again. other than that, I mean, we don't want to go too hard into baseball right now because not a lot of people care about baseball this time of year. Just real quick, pick to win the World Series in case this is the last time we talk about it. I don't know. Real quick, I got the Blue Jays. Don't need to go into it.
I got the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, that's Royals, Cardinals. Those are safe picks, definitely. Well, that's all I got. You got anything you wanted to mention before we sign off on our welcome back show?
No, I really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, guys. We're back. We'll see you again next month. Adios.